Hi, Gemini. Welcome in. Let's take a moment to welcome in Spirit to help us with this reading. Thank you for joining me. So, as I was connecting with your energy today, I had a feeling that you are reflecting on parts of yourself that are visible or apparent in someone you're dealing with that you're maybe not so comfortable with. It's like you're looking in the mirror and seeing a different side of yourself, or a side of yourself that maybe you've kind of put behind you, or a side of yourself that you've ignored. And someone in your energy is possibly bringing up these feelings of reflection for you. Tell me a little bit more about this, Spirit. So Gemini, maybe this person in your energy that you are in reflection about is sort of reminding you of a time when you were highly creative. The certain castles in the sky that inspired you. The things that you dreamed of doing. A time when you were really focused and you were unburdened by life. Maybe you were a kid and you just drew all the time, or you were a kid and you liked to sing, or there was something perhaps from childhood or a younger time in your life that you had to put aside because you had to take things seriously, or you had to put aside because you felt judged, or whatever your story could be anything. But whatever it might be, I think it has to do with somebody in your energy. Spirit, can you tell me about the person in their energy that might be inspiring these feelings of remembrance? Can you tell me about a event that occurred recently that is inspiring these feelings of remembrance for Gemini? We have the Five of Swords. So I believe, Gemini, that you are observing something in your social circle. Maybe there's somebody who is feeling down and out, and you've seen their progression through their emotions, and it's sort of reflected in yourself, and you are now kind of contemplating how there's been this undercurrent of dissociation, this undercurrent of frustration, perhaps, where you don't feel like you're able to express yourself naturally. You're not able to express the depths of your intellect, your unique sensibilities as a Gemini. You're not able to present that to the world. It's been hidden. And now it's kind of fighting to get back out. You feel perhaps that you have a lot of messages you want to bring, to the greater consciousness. You have a lot to offer, but you haven't been given the opportunity, or you haven't taken the opportunity to be that creative force that you are within. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit more about this Five of Swords? Thank you. We have the Four of Pentacles. So perhaps, Gemini, you've been feeling like you have to be extremely responsible. You've been feeling like you have to really hold on to the money that you make, or that being a creative is an irresponsible choice. Maybe that is something brought on by family or your social group, or just, a subconscious cultural undercurrent that is influencing you. Maybe you live in a city and you're making good money, but you see all of the wacky creative people doing their thing, and it's sort of making you reflect. It's making you go, I could do that. If I just spent the time, I could do that. And you can, Gemini. If we're feeling jaded, if we're feeling extra stubborn and protective over something, whether that's an identity or money, it's a good sign that maybe it's not actually true for us. And I'm not saying that it's not a good idea to make money, save money, all of that stuff. I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job immediately. But I am saying that maybe You can support your creative endeavors with whatever it is you're doing, or maybe you can start just communicating in general in a way that is more creative and more true to the depth of your intellect. Because one of the things that you are so gifted at, Gemini, is your power of perception. You can kind of see through people in a way that most other signs can't. It's empathy, but it's also just purely observational and intellectual. You might have an interest in psychology. You might have an interest in cultural history. You might have an interest in fashion or in all kinds of, or art. You might be interested in the humanities. You might be interested in music from a level of curiosity and academia. And all of that stuff is kind of brewing in your head, and you can see the things that are just sort of taken for granted or just part of the overall scenery for someone else as something really profound. And so you're going through your day to day and you can observe all this stuff, and maybe you notice that other people don't see it. Maybe you notice that other people are kind of like blind to it, but you notice it all. And your active mind is just constantly analyzing and constantly thinking and always curious and always wanting to chat about it. So there could be some really valuable stuff that you have synthesized over your time here on our good old planet Earth that you can now explain to other people in a way that they can appreciate, or in a unique way that they haven't seen before, to kind of wake them up. You know, like maybe the way that you want to approach this information being dispersed is really cutting edged, is really different than anything we've ever seen before, because your library of cool shit, your library of interesting stuff in your mind is like an entire library of Alexandria, and the rest of us just can't even crack that code the way you can. But maybe you're feeling stymied by the stuff you have to do, the daily grind, the responsibilities of life, your roles that you're playing, the roles that you've taken on. Maybe all of that stuff is kind of like gumming up the wheels, but you're being inspired by something in your immediate circle, something that happened recently that you observed that sort of told you, you know what? I'm bored. I'm really kind of bored of this, and I can have so much more, or I can produce something super awesome that the whole world needs to see, darn it. And I'm speaking like this because I feel like this indignation on your part, like, ugh, why is everything so lame? You're so over how lame it's been, how boring, how predictable. Ugh. And it's time to shake it up. I feel like you want to shake it up. You want to get people thinking. You want to get people active. Spirit, can you comment on this sense of indignation that I'm getting from Gemini? All right. So we got permission. Perhaps you have felt like you've needed permission to be creative. I can relate. I'm an artist myself, and I have struggled my whole life putting my art and my creativity at the very bottom of my to-do list. And my rising sign is Gemini, so I can also relate to this with that, where I really value my relationships, and my mind is constantly going and going and going and going. And so I have this running checklist in my mind. Well, I have to do this before I do that, and I have to make this much money so that I can be responsible and be able to pay my bills. I can, help so and so. I need to do da 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 da. Here's what I have to do at this time of day. here's my schedule, yada, yada, yada. And it's like I was always waiting for permission to actually do what I was called to do. And when I say called, I mean that nagging feeling of indignation, like, oh, I'm wasting my time. And that feeling of wasting your time is like you're giving your time to something that's not really that productive, right? And you being a very intellectual sign, you know that you could be extremely productive, that thinking and analyzing and creating are really valuable in culture. It's like you can make money and you can support yourself and you can do all the things and be quote unquote responsible. But is that really contributing anything? Or is that just passing time, wasting time, giving your time away? Only you can answer that, Gemini. But I have a feeling I know what you would say. So you're feeling this indignation, perhaps, this frustration, this like, boring. Life is so boring. People are so boring. And you want to shake it up. So Spirit, do you have any advice for my Gemini? We have reversal and it came out in reversed. So Spirit, I think, is saying whatever you feel like is stagnating right now is to just switch it up. You know, it might take a risk to do so, but whatever is stagnating, whatever is making you feel like you're backpedaling, perhaps you're about to back into a wall because you can't see what's behind you. You can only see what's in front of you right now because you're focused on the future. The future is calling you. So you gotta go forward and stop going back. Stop doing the same things that you've been doing that have become absolutely painfully boring for you, Gemini. I read somewhere that what drains Gemini's energy is boredom and inaction, which seems like such a counterintuitive thought, but I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me. And maybe it's even helping a light bulb come on. So like, even if you're going to work, doing the grind, you're being active, but you're not being actionable with your actual skills, which is who you are. Maybe you're meant to be a podcaster. Maybe you're meant to have a YouTube channel. Maybe you're meant to make some really wild comics. Maybe you're meant to make a video game. Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you're just meant to go to parties and chat with, you know, the interesting people of the world and inspire somebody to go make something amazing. I don't know. But whatever it is, you're a messenger here. You're a messenger of cultural awareness is what I'm getting. And I don't know what your expertise is. Maybe it's something totally different than anything I've mentioned here, which is awesome. And if you want to join the conversation and, you know, complain about how bored you are and what you really like to be doing, please feel free to join me in the comments. And get all of your chatty Gemini friends to join in and inspire each other, and that'd be great. But here is me giving you permission and Spirit giving you permission to go do that thing, to go be that conversationalist, to go be that artist, to go be that creative, to go be that bohemian, amazing individual that you are. And sure, you gotta make money, you gotta pay bills, but you'll figure it out because you're so darn smart, Gemini. So even if it's a little bit weird and a little bit, you know, gotta figure it out again, but that's half the fun, right? It's going to tap into your ability to be flexible, your ability to network, your ability to to surf the waves of unpredictability. That's how I see you, like a surfer, kind of like Tarzan is coming to mind, the Disney Tarzan, and maybe it's because he was a surfer, or he was inspired by a surfer. The animators were inspired by a surfer to draw him, and he's like, you know, surfing through the jungle on the vines, looking all badass and cool, and sweeping Jane off her feet, and she's just like, oh my goodness. And actually, that's kind of awesome that Spirit just sent me that, because we're talking about how everyone's so boring, and they're so like stuck in the day-to-day, and they're stuck in the blasé, and you're like, oh my gosh, why can't you just break free and be wild and be cool? Well, Jane eventually stops wearing her bustle and, you know, gets with it and enjoys being a jungle lady with her mans. So maybe there's something there for you, my sweet Gemini. Okay, so that is the message. If you resonate with this message and you'd like to say thank you to Spirit, I would appreciate a like or a subscribe or some comments. You guys are fantastic, and I can't wait to see what awesome shit you bring to the world. Thank you again for listening and watching, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.